So, are you wasting hours on very unproductive time activities that take up so much of your time? There's so many different tasks and projects that you have to work on, but you just spend your time on things that don't matter or aren't a good time investment. Well, we're going to talk about 10 time wasting habits today that you really need to avoid, that I have started to avoid. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Aquino and I help teach the next generation. So over the years, I've kind of identified my faults in time investments, and I've kind of done a lot of research as well into areas of improvement for time management. And today I'm going to talk about 10 big time wasting habits that you and I may still do or have done in the past. So by the end of this video, you'll know about the 10 and ways to help kind of mitigate their time loss in a way. So we're going to cover habits like social media, TV, procrastination, and a bunch more that may be pertinent to you that you may be doing right now. So we're just going to dive straight into the 10 because there's a lot to go through, and I would like to get this under like 17 hours. That'd be awesome. It won't be that long, I promise. So we'll start with an easy one, huh? Social media. Jesus Christ, this thing was a big ass time sink back in high school. Holy crap. There were so many times where I could have been doing anything, but instead I chose to spend all my time into social media, where I was like trying to grow my following, trying to meet new people and all that stuff, like keeping up snap scores. And I was like, this shit is so stupid. I remember telling my girlfriend at that time, I was like, this shit is so dumb. Why am I keeping a score with you? It's so stupid. Like, who gives a fuck? We have a 700 number. Who cares? And in the end, after learning more about it, the whole point of social media is for the companies to keep you on the platforms. That's all they want you to do. They just keep you on the platform as long as possible. So they want you to continue to wasting your time on the platforms. Do we not see the issue here? So if you do want to use social media, there are ways to set time limits on with different apps, and you can also do it online as well on the computer. I think I found that definitely limits how much I used to be on it. But nowadays, funny enough, yesterday I deleted just all my socials like the third time. I just kept finding it just so pointless and unnecessary. And that's just me. If you feel like you need it, you got a big following, cool, congratulations. I didn't. I just didn't. So I just cut it off again. And I'm like, I'm done with this. This is so pointless. And I felt like I was wasting a bit of too much time on it. And I definitely feel like I've gotten my time back, which is very nice. So social media scrolling, just be aware of that. It is, a lot of us do it. You probably have done it before. YouTube counts as well. I'm sorry. So if you're binge watching my videos, you should probably stop. I mean, thanks for the watch hours, but you should really stop. So let's keep that in mind. So following this kind of goes into the next thing, where binge watching TV shows, that is a big no. I remember, I think it was either freshman year or sophomore year of high school. There was an anime. I don't know if many of you have heard it. It was Hunter x Hunter. And it was like 120 episodes or some shit. And I just crammed all of it into one weekend. And then I found that on Monday there was a big assignment that had to be done. I may have forgotten to do it because I was watching that anime. Now, granted, the anime was pretty good, but the assignment was not. And I got an F on it. So I would definitely say to kind of avoid binge watching TV shows. I know you want to continue watching, but you kind of have to have the willpower to say, no, it's really hard, granted, but I would try and limit to just 1 to 2 episodes a day, because my God, man, if you're watching an entire series, that is like 8 hours just spent on watching the entire series. And nah, bruh, I'd rather spread it out over time. I know the most recent one that I watched, Cobra Kai, I think they've released 5 episodes, and I'll probably watch them at some point because it's out already. And I'll probably just do 1 episode a day, because if I do the whole watching them all in one go again, I think it's 5 hours roughly that are gone. So if I just do one at a time, that will be more reasonable in my eyes. And I don't want to continue to procrastinate and put stuff off, which leads us into the next topic that everyone does, no matter who you are. So don't lie, you procrastinate. It's okay. This is a safe spot because I procrastinated a lot too. I've done a lot of videos on procrastination before. So if you want to, look at those, check those out. I've done 3 or 4 of them explaining a bit more of the science and why people procrastinate. But to put it simply, putting off tasks leads to increased stress and last minute rushes. And I procrastinated on big projects, whether it was school, whether it was business, whatever you can think, I probably procrastinated on it. And to put it simply, you want to break down the big ass task to smaller tasks. The example I like to give, you have a month to write an essay. Don't do it the last goddamn day. Do a page a day. So if you have 30 days to do it, write 30 pages over the span of the 30 days. Don't do it all in the last fucking day. And I'll tell you why, because I did that. It was miserable. And then I did the second one and I was like, oh, hey, this is a lot easier. Who would have guessed? So put it simply, break it into smaller, manageable steps so that you can focus on it. It's a lot easier for you to do because, I'm never writing a 30-page essay in 10 hours. Never doing that again. So putting it simply, procrastination, break it down into smaller tasks. What won't help you though is video games. And I'm going to get flamed a lot because I have been a lot, but video games suck. So video games, they suck. I don't like them. Don't like them whatsoever. They are so distracting, so dopamine addicting. Oh my goodness. I spent hours, days, weeks, months, probably, I definitely spent years just focused on video games. If I had to guess, I probably spent 2 years like total playing video games. That's a lot of time. You know what you could do in 2 years? A lot of stuff. So I wasted so much time playing video games. Nowadays, I haven't touched video games. I think it's been 6 months since I actually like sat down and like played some games. Nope, I'm good. Never again. So my tip, if you do want to keep video games like in your life, to kind of set strict time limits on how much you play. I understand that they want you to keep playing, like the big gaming companies want you to keep playing, but you need to limit. Is your time better spent on video games or spent doing the work that you need to get done? Like, figure it out, man. And I would probably recommend 30 minutes to an hour and try and, if you want to even gamify that. So give yourself an hour. How much can you do in an hour? How much progress can you make in an hour? If I were to continue, that's probably how I would do it. I tried to gamify the time. I was like, all right, cool. 1 hour, let's fucking go. But in my opinion, just get rid of them. That's just me. I don't really play them anymore. I've kind of cut them out. I've never been happier. I've never felt better not playing them anymore. But if you do want to keep them for whatever reason, just set like an hour limit and then get back to work because they are goddamn time sink. And probably something that's on par with it, in my opinion, is probably checking your emails 24/7, which I still do, and I'm still really trying not to do. So constantly checking emails is something that I think out of all of this list, I still have faults with, where you check it like every hour or every like couple hours, but while you're doing work. And it really messes with me still. So I have definitely, it's gotten a lot better from where it was, like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, where I would check every 10 minutes. Oh, did something come up? Oh, did something come up? Oh, what's going on now? Like, Jesus Christ, relax. I've read from the 4-Hour Work Week where he just reads emails at Monday morning and then doesn't read emails the rest of the time. So I would probably try that. Try and set a designated time to where you look at the emails versus looking at them every single day. Now, granted, if you're working a job or a business, or a business that requires you to like be up to date on emails, just try and be cognizant and not check every single second. Maybe check at the top of every hour, top of every 2 hours, so that we're not completely addicted to the emails, because that's a big time sink that a lot of us do, including me. It's gotten better, and I probably will try the Monday, probably going forward, because I don't want to keep looking at my emails 24/7 because it's such a big ass time sink. And another thing that's a big ass time sink, speaking of online stuff, would be web browsing, or specifically mindless web browsing. So while recording and creating the script for, this video, I got onto the part right now for mindless web browsing where you just kind of do just research and look up random shit. You've done it before. Don't lie to me. You have. Everyone's done it. And I did the same shit. I was literally scripting about, don't mindlessly browse in the web, and I fucking did it. So it's hard because it's so easy to get into it. So to kind of limit it, I actually like re-put a lot of my browser distraction free stuff and like blockers, because it is so easy to get distracted from, web browsing and just kind of looking at random stuff, because you look up how to do this thing and all of a sudden 30 minutes later you're on a completely different side of the internet and you're like, how the hell did I get here? It's happened. I think we've all been there. So to put it simply, either be very cognizant with how you're doing your time, or kind of put blockers in place to make sure you're not going out into the wilderness of the internet and kind of spending your time. This one's pretty easy to understand, but it's a lot harder to do, as a lot of us would know. But what isn't hard to do is over committing, which I have done too much of in the past, where I really struggled to say no, where I would be told, hey, you want to do this thing? I could say no, and it would save me a lot of time to do another thing that I have to do. But I would always say, yeah, sure, let's do it. And what would end up happening is I would get burnt out, overworked very quickly. And you might think, how does that relate to time management? Well, when you're burnt out, you're exhausted, and you can't do anything. Well, the work that you want to do doesn't get done, which could lead to procrastination, or could lead to you continuously putting it off over and over and over. So you lose time in the long run. You have to recover. Whereas it would have just been better if you had said no to a couple of the things so that you can do the work that you actually wanted to do. So try not to just say yes to everything. A lot of people will struggle with this. I know I did, but you have to say no. You can't say yes to everything. You have to just decline taking additional tasks, decline going to events. You have to decline if you want to do the work that you have to get done. There's been a lot of times where I got invited to something and I was like, oh, I really do want to go, but this 30-page essay still has to get done and I would like to finish it today. So thanks, but no thanks. It's very hard to do. You feel like a dick, but trust me, you're not. And in some cases, people may even respect you for saying no, because you're doing something of more importance or of a higher purpose, you could say. This has happened a couple times, but it's up to different people. What isn't, and which is something that I'm thankful I've never done for the most part, is unproductive meetings. Holy hell, have I seen and heard so many horror stories of like 2-hour meetings, 3-hour meetings that led to nothing. My God. I remember in the second instructor position that I worked at, they had meetings, I think every month, but they were like an hour and a half before the students showed up, just kind of going over things that had to get done and such. And I never showed up for those. I'm pretty sure they were mandatory, but I just never showed up. And what happened is they would just fill me in 5 minutes of what happened. So that would show up and I was like, what was the meeting about? Oh, it's this, and this, and this. And I was like, all right, cool. Didn't have to be an hour and a half. Really didn't. They didn't go over anything. I remember going to one, right as around the time I was leaving. It was nothing. It was just a bunch of nothing. Just a bunch of nothing. Just talking about stuff we already knew and had to do already. Just reaffirming it. It was nothing. It was a waste of time. So no. If you're the one running the meeting, just make sure it has a clear purpose. Set a time limit. Don't just stop. It doesn't have to be 2 hours long. An hour's already too much, but 2 hours? Hell no. Just quick, concise. I know for my business, I don't do meetings. We did one and we had a big list of like, all right, here's what we're doing. When it gets done, we're done. We got done in 45 minutes and we left. Like that was it. We got discussions, plans, done, moved out. Just so much easier. I think that meeting we had was like 2 years ago. After that, don't do meetings anymore. Like pointless, unnecessary. Just no. It's unnecessary. It's unpointless. I hate meetings. I hate the concept of meetings. Jesus Christ. Well, I also have started to hate, and Sauron is multitasking, because man, multitasking sucks. When you try and do so many different things at the same time, your brain focuses on too many different things, and it's not good. It's a pretty simple way of explaining it. The more nuanced way I could say is, if you focus on one task, 100% of your focus goes onto that. You start focusing on 17 different things, and it's not 100% to all of them. It's like a partial percent, like 2 or 3%, because your brain takes time to go from each task to fully start focusing on it. So in the long run, multitasking is an extremely bad thing to, kind of cling on to. I know you and I both want multitasking to work, but it just really doesn't, unfortunately. So single tasking is the way to go for that. This one's pretty simple. Don't multitask, single task. But the biggest thing is to make sure you have a plan. I remember the days when I didn't have time blocking. I remember the days when I didn't have like weekly task lists. I remember those days. You want to know what those days were? Do you remember that one SpongeBob episode where like there's like all the SpongeBobs trying to figure out what to do and the whole place just goes on fire? That was my brain all the time. I was like, what am I doing? What time? Okay, so it's like 12, but what does that mean? I don't know what to do. What do I do? That didn't go well. For business, for school, for whatever. Yeah, it didn't go well. Missed a lot of stuff. Put it simply, have a plan. Whether it's a daily, weekly, or monthly, have a plan of what you're doing. Calendars will help. Time blocking will help. To-do list will help. Just have some idea to kind of figure out how you'll do your day. If you don't do this, you'll have a very disorganized day and very chaotic day. And I don't know about you, but living those days really sucked. They really did. It was awful. Hated it. Nowadays, very nice. I have not a super set routine, but I kind of know how the day is going to be formatted. So it's pretty easy to kind of go through, which is very good. So overall, these 10 negative time investments, if you remove them, change them, optimize them, you can reclaim so much of your time and boost your productivity. So if you implement the practices that I mentioned within those, a lot can happen and a lot can positively change if you change some of them, remove some of them, optimize them. It takes time, it takes effort. It takes time, it takes effort, and I would recommend, if you're going to change, like if let's say impossible, if you have all 10 of these, just work on it one at a time so they can become ingrained over time. So like if you play video games for hours, cut it down to 1. And then probably the next week, try to focus on single tasking, and then, so and so. Just focus on the ones that you are really struggling with, and be honest with yourself. Don't lie. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be like, oh, video games. Yeah, like I have a problem. We only play like 7 hours a day. No. You got a problem, bucko. I have admitted it. I had a problem. 12 hours a day. Not very good. So I don't do it anymore. So be honest with yourself, so you can improve. So if you found these tips helpful, you'll definitely want to check out my previous video on the 5 things that successful people do. So in that one, I kind of dive more into the habits and techniques that more successful people do that you can replicate to help further improve your time productivity and time management. So click on that link to watch now, and you'll gain valuable insights that can compound your time management, productivity. And if you want to say goodbye to stress and live a stress-free life, click the links down below in the description.